Okay. Oops. I think I went ahead of myself. Yeah, I did. I'm missing it. Where is it? Here we go. Sorry, guys. All right, here we go. So here's the EVSR question. Our EVSR question is called evidence-based selected response. All right? Evidence-based selected response. And with that evidence-based selected response, you have two parts. Check, check. You have a part A and you have a part B. We know our part B is our what?
Excuse me, evidence.
Yes, our part B is our evidence. Our evidence that proves what? Very good. That proves or supports the answer to part A, right? We also know, according to the scoring, that if we get part A right, but we get part B wrong, we get what? We get 1 point. Remember, if we get part A right and part B wrong, if we get this and this, we get a 1. Why? Because we did what?
We were able to,
I don't want to say you get one
right
and the second wrong, both you get 0 points.
Let's go back over. This one right here, we say that evidence, this is the evidence one, right? Check, check. And we know that this evidence proves the what?
That is.
That A is correct. So A is our answer. Check, check. So you have to actually make a what? You have to actually make an answer. You have to actually provide an answer before you can have what? Evidence to prove it. Check, check. Okay. So the state is saying, Park is saying, that if I get part A right and I get part B wrong, I get 1 point. Why do I get 1 point? Because I what? Answered the question. I actually I'm on topic and I've answered the question. I've done RA, right? This is basically what this is. I've done RA. Check, check. Okay. But here I didn't do C. Check, check. Now, the state also says, if I get this right and this wrong, I get a what?
0.
I get a 0. Think about it. I wonder why I get a 0. That's one of the questions. I wonder why it is important to get part A correct first in order to receive the maximum 2-point score allowed. I wonder why I need to do that. Like, I wonder why that might be important. Why is it important to get part A right before I can get my points? Why can't you just get part B right and still get the 1 point? Miss Jack?
Part A is the answer, and how are you going to give evidence to something that is not correct?
I heard her say, and I heard them say correct. They agree with you. How are you going to even give evidence if you don't even have a what? An answer. Well, guys, that goes back. This is our whole need. This is the whole reason for why we're doing this writing strategy. Great. I'm glad they can pull out evidence. I don't quite see how they can pull out evidence, though, just to be perfectly honest. I don't see how they can pull out relevant evidence if they don't have an R and an A. They need to be able to restate the topic or the question, which is the topic, basically a topic sentence, and then that add-on part, which is the A, answer the actual question. If you don't do that, then how you going to pull out how you know they're relevant? There's no topic to what? There's no topic to be able to support. It's kind of like you got this table right here, and you got these legs on it, but they don't got no surface. You see what I'm saying? Like, those legs are not going to stand. So this is our need. Our need is to make sure that they know how to do R and A. If they can't do R and A, I'm not even checking the rest of the paper. Why am I not checking the rest of the paper?
Why are you going to check it if the answer is not right?
You got no answer. You have no answer. So why would I check it? There's your evidence. In my mind, I might know where you're going, but I know where you're going because I'm your what? I'm your teacher. I know how you think by now. But will the state know how you think? They're going to give you a 0 too because you don't have anything to support. Check, check. Okay. So this is our EBSR, and we're going into our writing evaluations. So remember that given race, which we are comfortable with, check, check. And then a writing checklist, which you're going to get almost instantly. Career teachers will model think aloud, evaluating. And when you evaluate, what do? You what?
I said you're scoring it.
You're scoring it. You're assessing it. You're trying to see whether or not this student is what? This student is what? Progressing. That's what you're doing. You're tracking their progress. Check, check. But we want to make sure that those students are able to do what? To track their own progress. Because if they're able to internalize tracking their own progress, then our hope is that they will be more successful. Okay? So I've asked Miss Brooks. We were going to do a video, but it takes too much time to hook it up and whatnot. So I've asked Miss Brooks to come up here and model her think aloud using the writing strategy. I went into her classroom and kind of tested out to see if that writing checklist would work. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let her come up here and model the think aloud, and I'm going to give you guys the writing checklist as well. Okay? The writing checklist looks like this. Ms. Smith, can you read the first question?
Do you have a clear introduction? And this will be the R.
Very good. Ms. Vidalier?
Could you answer the question from the writing prompt? And that's the A.
Okay. Ms. Brooks?
Do you have evidence to support the topic? And that's your C.
Okay. I'm going to go back to, oh, yeah, you got it, Ms. Jack. Ms. Jack, can you do the next one?
Do you have evidence to support the topic?
Okay. Ms. Smith?
Do you have an explanation to support your evidence? And that's the E.
Next one, do you use transition words? Then the one after that, did you use specific language vocabulary from the passage? And the final one, Ms. Badali, can you read that one?
Do you have a conclusion that summarizes the information explained?
Okay, so this is how we're going to expect our students to evaluate their writing, by asking themselves what? Questions. Okay? They're going to ask themselves questions to make sure that they are on track. Check, check. Now you might wonder, before Ms. Brooks goes on, where did Ms. Prudhomme possibly get these questions from? Did she just make them up? Did they just come out of thin air? Where do you think these questions might come from? Remember what drives us. Remember what we teach and we assess. What do we teach and assess? We teach and assess the what, Ms. Brooks?
The standard.
The standards. Constantly teaching and assessing the standards. So where do you think I got my expectations from? The standards. I got it from the writing standards. They are, in all classes, y'all are working on informative or explanatory writing. Check, check. So everybody should be on W2. Attached to your cluster meeting record, you should find your writing standard for your grade level. Ms. Smith, I think I put all of them on yours. You're welcome. So if you would go through those real quick, we have a W2 grade 4. It says, write informative, explanatory text to examine a topic and convey ideas and information clearly. A, introduce a topic clearly and a group of related information. What I got up here? A clear introduction. B, develop the topic with facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, or other information and examples. What I got? Well, actually, this kind of goes hand in hand, right? Do you have a clear introduction? In that clear introduction, you need to be able to answer the question from the writing prompt. Then we go to our C, which is B. Do you have evidence to support the topic? Check, check. Okay. And then, of course, you have to have that explanation. And I'm not sure if that is... Yeah, it goes a little bit further. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith is pointing to D. But I'm not going to skip C. I'm going to go to C real quick. Link ideas with categories of information using words or phrases. That's our what?
Transition
words, right?
Yeah, language and vocabulary.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. That goes to D. It says use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to inform about or explain the topic. And that's what Ms. Smith is saying. You have to be able to explain the topic. So once you put evidence, pull those evidence, they need to be able to explain, like Ms. Brooks was saying, why they chose that evidence. And then finally, the last part is provide a concluding statement or section that summarizes the information explained. And that's what we have here. Check, check. I didn't pull it out of thin air. I made those questions based upon the what? Standards, the writing standards. Because that's what we teach and assess. You ready, Ms. Brooks? So while it should be on. While she's modeling her think aloud, I want us to be thinking about the process. The what? The process. I want us to be thinking about the process, the steps that she took in order to evaluate that. So everybody has their writing checklist, right? Okay, Ms. Brooks is going to tell you what it is that she expects of you to do and what she is going to do. Check, check. Because whenever we model our expectations, we need to be able to let the students know what is expected of them while we are what? Modeling. Check, check. All right, Ms. Brooks.
Okay. To begin with, I'm going to show you one. This was let's see. This was one that used the race strategy, but when we went over it again yesterday with the checklist, she did another writing, but it's a different student that I'm going to show you. So first of all, when as we go through each step of the race strategy, I expect you to be able to check yes or no on your checklist. Following, we're going to do it with both of them. Following one that has everything and one that does not. So we're going to go through each question, and if they have it, just simply put a check in the yes, and if they don't have it, just simply put a check in the no. And just to remind you, if they do not have an 8, that means from 8 on down, they have no's. We don't even need to read the paper. Because if they don't have an answer, why are we even going to look at the evidence? What are they supporting? They don't have an answer. So, yesterday when I went over this with the class, I started with the writing prompt. And every single paper that we looked at, I read the writing prompt over and over and over again. Just to get them in the practice of what I expect them to do when they see a writing prompt. So why was trade important to the colonists and the Native Americans? Give at least one detail from the picture and 2 details from the text to support your answer. I always have them underline the question. And I have them underline the question for 2 reasons. One, they already know I have to restate this in R because I'm restating my question. And 2, this is the question that I have to answer in 8. So that question serves 2 purposes. 1, they have to be able to restate it, and 2, they have to answer it. Then it says give at least 1 detail from the picture and 2 details from the text to support your answer. So I had them underline 1 detail from the picture and 2 details from the text. So that means if you don't have 1 detail from the picture and 2 details from the text, your score is going to drop. You should have everything that the writing prompt tells you. So after we broke the writing prompt down, and that's basically all I did, we underlined the question, made sure that we had all the information that we needed to know. We need to include in our paragraph. So when we went to R is restate or reword. So how would we restate or reword? Most of them said how or why was trade, and so we took out the question word. So I had them scratch out the question word. So now we can say trade was important to the colonists and the Native Americans, period. That's your R. It's done. Native Americans and colonists traded because it was important. She kind of did an R and an A together. So we had to stop it right here. So we put an R because she said the Native Americans and the colonists traded. But she did not say, she said because it was important. So we gave her a point we put a check in the yes mark in the yes column for R. So she had a clear introduction. Then we went on to A. I think trading was important because the cause, the stuff, reasons. Yeah, nobody understood what she was saying. I don't even think she knew. So right there, she have a no in the A column. So do I even need to read the rest of the paper? No, because A don't even make sense. So what evidence are you citing to support